What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to 49ers First Takes. I am here with my co-host, SF Gold Rush, Mike, to talk about a very disappointing end to the 49ers 2025 season. A game that was never really close. And even though a lot of us saw what could potentially be coming, it still sucks in the end, Mike.
Yeah.
That we lost, even though, if you had to be a betting man, a lot of people picked against us. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the game a little bit. And then I know it's a little early, but there's definitely some off-season questions that I want to ask Mike about and talk about. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, stick around. And if you watch me on the rewatch, stick around too. So before we get into anything, Mike, having time to digest what happened on Saturday, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I was pretty sad. I'm not going to lie. It was just like from the first kickoff, like the game was over. And all you ask for in these type of games is just be in it. Like give us the entertainment value of having a full game, of the emotional roller coaster of ups and downs and cheerings and oh no and yeah, good job. But it was devastation from the very first second of the game, and it never stopped. And you look at all the other games around, the league over the weekend, and they were pretty close, considering, but this was just, it was over. And I just couldn't believe that they played even worse that they did in week 18. And I was very surprised by that they didn't even have the fight in them to make it a better game. And yeah, pretty disappointing.
Like, I forgot what I was going to say, but like, you know, I felt I felt that the 49ers were kind of when we kept saying they were playing with house money, right?
Yeah.
And that, there's no expectation.
Which
We were
I hate that phrase, by the way,
me
because
too.
it's just like you're giving yourself a way out, right?
The
If
way,
you
yeah,
lose, like, oh,
I
we're playing with house money, so if we lose, it's all good. Like, I hate that. I hated that. And some of the players even said that today.
yeah, there was the message that was being like kind of talked about. Still, it was bothering me like a lot. Like they were already like kind of talking about why they couldn't do it, achieve what they wanted because of injuries. It's like the last thing I want to hear after a devastating playoff loss is excuses. And though they're right, you still don't want to hear it, right?
Yeah.
You know, that game was um it was like it was never really competitive. I felt that the Niners were just done physically. They played. They had how many like short weeks?
Yeah.
Like
Like
over the last 4 years.
three out of the
Yeah,
4 weeks were short, and 3 games in like 15 days or something like that.
yeah. I felt that they just ran out of gas, bro, and they didn't have the bullets in the gun already to compete. And let's hold on before I say give Seattle credit, dude. If
Yeah.
you're a Seahawks fan and you see this video, we got our ass kicked, and you guys, your defense and your run game was something else. You guys
That
have
was a
built
shellacking.
you built this. You're building yourself a juggernaut over there, and now we got to go and catch you. We were
Yep.
the hunted, and now we're the hunters. And Seattle deserves every bit of credit for that ass kicking that they gave us. I'm not afraid to say that. If people have a problem with that, like get over yourself. You can give
Yeah.
credit to the opponent. But yeah, I just thought that they ran out of gas physically. So many games in such a short amount of time, so many injuries, so short,
Yep.
their depth
David had a
chart.
good comment right there. They played 5 in 26 days.
5 games in 2016. Seahawks played 3 games in 20. Yeah, the Niners. It was going to happen.
Yep.
And a lot of people. I mean, I've just gotten raked over the coals for my takes. In the beginning of the season, I talked about it. I really didn't believe in us, and a lot of people really attacked me for that. And they were like, you're not a fan, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you based on how the offseason went with the cutting of cost, you got Kyle Shanahan talking about how he talked to his veterans in the offseason. I'm like, Super Bowl or bust is not our goal. Like when I hear stuff like that, and I hear that's the kind of mindset, how does a fan um, expect to have expectations? Now, did they exceed expectations based on what I felt? Absolutely. Does it make me feel better that they exceeded expectations? No, I still expect Super Bowl or bust. That's just my mentality. I'm an old school guy. I grew up during when they were winning Super Bowls. It's
Yeah.
for me to make the excuse. But the injuries, dude, and just the lack of just having healthy bodies all season, it caught up with them. And
Well,
Seattle took advantage of that, and they put us out of our misery. They put us down like an old horse.
I do get the point that they were exhausted and, they played all these games for sure. I get that 100%. But it was the NFL divisional playoffs against your division rival who just punched you in the mouth 2 weeks prior. Post-game Philly interviews, it seemed like they were very excited to play Seattle, right? How many players were like, "Oh, this is the matchup we wanted. We can't wait." You can't talk all that shit and then all of a sudden come out like that. Like that's insane. To me, it was the preparation. I feel like this was Kyle's work. Like this might be Kyle's best season coaching, but that was his worst game I've ever seen him coach. So to have that both of those be true in the same season is kind of weird. But he didn't have the guys ready. They were unprepared, mentally, physically, motivationally. You had Robert Saleh doing interviews for defensive coordinator on a short week. When I know some other guys that were in the playoffs are putting off interviews until after the games. I think that was probably a distraction because this defense was not ready to go. You even heard Tom Brady mention on one of the plays, right, where he was like, this is the worst defensive setup for this play that Seattle's running. And you're like, how are these guys so out of it? Like they didn't even sell out to stop the run. Sam Darnold threw 17 passes and completed 12. And they whipped our ass. Like
it wasn't even close, bro.
No, it
I
wasn't
never
even
felt
close.
I never felt at any point in the game that we had a shot.
No.
Not one bit. Now, is it Jesusum? He said exceeded expectations, feeding off bad teams, waved the white flag.
They played some good teams, and I mean they played Philly at home and punched them in the mouth. I feel like, considering everything that happened, they did beat all these playoff teams that were left. They beat the Bears. They beat Seattle week 1. They beat the Rams Thursday night football. So their schedule wasn't as easy as people think. And they've only gotten more hurt as the season went along. So I don't really agree with that all the way, but
I'll disagree. I'll say that they did. It's commendable that they didn't wave the white flag because most teams, if not all teams, would have waved the white flag.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not big on moral victories. I just don't believe in that stuff. But as hard up as I am about, being old fashioned and it's all about winning Super Bowls, when I really kind of like break it down and I kind of stop kind of being a jerk about it and kind of hyper emotional, they did exceed expectations and they did a lot more than they could ever do with the amount of drama and injuries and just all the stuff that happened this year. And it's hard for me to say that again because I'm old school, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
He made a good point of even a fully healthy Niner team doesn't beat the Seahawks team. I think he's 100% correct. We're not good enough right now. Roster wise, roster construction, we have a talent deficit. I said this in the early part of the season with Sterling. I told him we had a talent deficit. I said we couldn't afford any injuries. We are so thin. We have no depth. And what happened, Mike? everything that I say, I feel like a prophet. It's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It was exactly what happened, man. Like they got a bunch of injuries. They have no good depth because, bad drafting and misses and bad free agent signings over the last couple of years. So now they're paying the price for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seattle played their best game of the year against us on Sunday.
Yeah. They
And
came ready to go. They wanted blood, like, and they got it. Like, not even the kickoff. Okay. Hey, things happen on special teams, right? Fluke stuff. Cool. All right. You get the ball. Let's go put some points on the board. And what happens the very first offensive play of the game that sets the tone for the rest of the game, right? They come in through, blasting through the offensive line who's not ready to block, hits Purdy's arm, and it's almost a strip sack fumble, right? So it's like the very first offensive play of the game and ball's already getting stripped. Like, this is, yeah, it wasn't good. But like you said, if you zoom out and you take, like a 50,000 foot view of the entire season, everything that they went through, their wide receiver one quit on their team. Injuries started in training camp. The whole, we're going to rebuild this year. They don't acquire any talented free agents whatsoever. They let go of all this talent that are all balling out on other teams. And then, they have all this drama midseason where stars are dropping like flies. Your starting quarterback is out for weeks at a time. All this stuff, you have to say they overachieved, and they ended up giving fans an exciting season when expectations were set very low by them. So it is what it is.
yeah. Brand new says, who do you hate more, the Seahawks or the Rams? Seahawks.
Okay.
It'll always
Scott,
be the Seahawks.
I'm the opposite of you, just because of my area. So
Okay.
I live in LA, right? And every single goddamn Rams fan I know is a traitor to their original team and their bandwagons. I know Rams fans that were Steeler fans too, a couple years ago. Green Bay fans, Raider fans. They're all transplant teams, adult men who jumped ship and are now screaming from the rooftops, whose house and Rams this, and like, dude, no. I cannot have the Rams win a Super Bowl at Levi Stadium because the amount of ignorant fans that I have to deal with over here is too much.
Yeah. There's going to be an NFC West team in the Super Bowl regardless, Mike.
Yep.
And it sucks. But the Niners, I say they have no one to blame for themselves, but they were undermanned this year, even before the season started, before they had all the injuries.
Yeah.
It was going to be a tough season anyways. And then, of course, the injuries start piling up in training camp. I got a lot of grief complaining about the injuries. I've been complaining about the injuries all year, and I've got a ton of grief about the injuries. But what's the first thing that people say at the end of the season about why we didn't achieve our goals? What's the first thing they say, Mike?
It's injuries.
It's injuries.
And offensive line.
Everybody's upset because I bring it up.
Yeah.
But that's the excuse everybody uses when we start talking about why we didn't achieve our goals. So, like, was I really that, like, off? Was I off? I think sometimes what happens is like people don't want to hear the truth, because they like kind of live in this little bit of like a bubble. They love their team so much they kind of simp for them, and I've just never been that way. I kind of like see things from a different perspective, and so like it's just funny how like everybody immediately when the season ends, we're like, well, if we would have been healthy, I'm like, I thought we were talking about injuries too much this year. And like all of a sudden you're going right to that excuse. But Vincent says Seahawks coming off bye and Niners going into a short week and playing through the Eagles definitely didn't help. Yeah. The Niners, this game that happened was coming. It was just a matter of when. Or the Niners just ran out of gas and they ran out of, just ran out of bullets and they didn't have anything, man. They were done.
Yeah, you're right. They ran out of gas. I'm like I said, I'm just still disappointed that they didn't put up a fight, because Kyle Shanahan's teams have always put up fights in playoffs. No matter what, there's always some type of fight. Even if they go down early, they'll come back and fight. And that the fact that they didn't do that this game is really irking me, and it's what really gives me concern going into the offseason already, because I'd rather have lost a heartbreak, honestly, than to just get absolutely demolished like that with like no signs of life, because now you just think of how horrible this team is going into next year, and there's nothing we can do about it until week 1 of next season.
I want to say what's up to Papa J. Thanks for the follow on X.
Papa
Appreciate
J.
it. Yeah. I like the thumbnail, by the way. Little sourdough Sam action there. Gray, you are 100%. It's every year. It's been every year since the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era, other than 2023.
And Mike, offensive line, right? Like, they will, every single big game that we lose, what is the main culprit?
Both Super Bowls. What's his name? The defensive tackle from the Chiefs. Chris Jones wrecked us, right?
Yeah.
And it was what? Because of bad pass blocking.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't learn, man. They do not
NFC
learn.
Championship game, get blown up. Purdy gets hurt. This game, we get smoked. The NFC Championship game against the Rams, offensive line gets smoked. They just do not learn. I don't understand it. Instead, they'd rather draft Ricky Pearsall, who put up a triple goose egg in this game. Thanks for playing, buddy. I appreciate the, coming out and really showing your team you're willing to stick it out for the divisional playoff game. But triple goose egg, no catches, no yards, no touchdowns. First round pick, great production.
Yeah, there was a tweet of him talking about keep the same energy, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Just go and get healthy.
Yeah, you're in year 3, bro.
Idiots like me, don't worry about idiots like me who make comments about you being injury prone. You need to be concentrating on trying to get healthy and trying to get tougher so that you're not.
And if the Niners are going to pick up your 5th-year option, you should be worried about that.
I'm willing to give him 1 more year because we don't have a choice anyways, Mike. So it's not like we can get rid of him. Yep. I know we both talked about trading him in the offseason. That's not going to happen. What's up, 49er Media? Thanks for coming through. What was I going to say? So, injuries. Every year we have the same excuse. Every year we go through the same, well, if we would have been healthy, other than 2023, that's all we talk about. Do you agree that the Niners, they won't, but do you agree that they need to take a massive look at this whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think actually this might be the first season, Aaron, that I think something's going to happen, because you saw the reports of players reaching out to their agents already about it, and there seems to be growing concern. And I know the NFL Players Association is probably going to start to look into this. If agents are getting contacted over this now, players are talking about it. It's gone viral. This was just on display for everybody to see how injury prone these Niners are, and something has to give. Even one, I think it was even one agent said that he was wondering why it took his clients that were on the Niners longer to heal than, his clients on other teams. So I think something's going to give, and I think the Player Association is probably going to get into it if players are contacting agents and stuff. So I hope so. Because something is wrong. Something is wrong.
Definitely. Dustin Perry, Vice President of Player Health and Performance. In his 8th season with the 49ers, 6th as the team's head strength and conditioning coach. So he's been there a long time. And then you have Elliot Williams, functional performance. And he's there to prevent the 49ers from major injuries. Needless to say, neither of those guys have done their job.
Yeah, they suck.
You have one guy that's in charge of kind of like the whole thing, and then you have one guy who's in charge of injury prevention, and yet they can't do either.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about injuries anymore. I mean, I do want to talk about it because it's something to talk about, but I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of everybody else being healthy in the league, and everyone's like, "Whoa, look at the Bill! Oh, the Bill! Okay, so the Bills were an outlier this year. They had a bunch of injuries, but for the most part, all the teams that are in the playoffs that have gone far, they're all healthy.
Yeah.
You cannot compete against the likes of Seattle, the Rams, any of these teams.
Our division is incredibly healthy.
I like nobody else has this problem yet. If you bring it up, you're making too much out of it. I'm like, no, we're not.
And the Bills aren't even as hurt as we are. Like, they are hurt, but we are even more hurt than they are. Josh Allen didn't miss 8 games this season. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, their defense is decimated. Well, so is ours.
Some good news. There was a Kittle answered a question. I don't have the clip or the quote, but essentially, where his tear took place, it doesn't require the Achilles to what do they say, to be stapled to the bone or like attached to the bone.
Drilled into his heel.
And what happens with that is they said it could shorten his recovery time.
Not if he stays around the power station.
My brother thinks Mr. Dolphins fan that he needs to take as much time to get healthy. He's like, I wouldn't bring him back early.
Yeah, he needs to stay in Iowa. Just stay in Iowa and chill over there for the whole. Don't come back anytime soon, Georgie.
What's up, man? Imagine if we had BA. I don't even know if that would have made any difference, man. It would have made a little difference, but our offensive line is so bad. I think it kind of neutralizes and kind of makes.
The receivers were so bad Saturday night too. They were so bad, bro. It was like poor Purdy, bro. Like what people bagging on him.
Life.
Like he had nowhere to go with the ball. He's thrown to fucking Farrell, and Juwan Jennings is dropping balls. Ricky Pearsall, his one target he drops. It's like, dude, what do you want the guy to do? What do you want him to do?
He didn't have anybody to facilitate through.
Yeah.
Nobody stepped up. Seattle's defense is good, but I thought the effort was poor as well. I thought they just came into that into that game with zero.
He doesn't have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua to throw to,
Exactly.
It's a big, big difference.
Well, let's go into that then. Let's talk a little offseason. Do you agree that the Niners need to brought this up with the cover 3 guys? They didn't really want to hear about it. Do you agree that the 49ers going into this offseason need to reevaluate their offensive skill players and maybe reinvest, like maybe because there was a quote somebody said, like, spend money on offense and draft more defense, which like bringing in they have to
bring in like skill position players.
Yeah, they need a Kyle Pitts, a Justin Jefferson.
Speed. And
they drafted speed twice.
Yeah.
And neither of them saw the field this year.
I know, that's crazy. I don't even know what to say about that.
This drafting, they draft like in the Niners in the 80s when they were winning, they would draft for the future and they would redshirt guys, right? And the Niners did that to some extent when they were doing pretty well, like in 2019, when all those years you can redshirt guys, right? You can have them sit. They're not talented enough to do that, and yet Kyle still did it this year. Jordan James doesn't any play until the final game of the season for the 49ers in the playoffs. Watkins never, ever, I mean, he saw the field. He was active maybe a game or 2.
Yeah, he's had like 2 catches or something.
And Cowing had the worst hamstring injury known to man and could never make it onto the field all year.
I think he slept at this power station, probably.
What's the purpose of drafting these guys if you don't want to use them?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And wasting draft picks.
I agree. I would rather them pay for the proven skill position players.
Yes.
And if you want to use your draft picks on, defense, then that's fine. But I think that worked out for them pretty well, getting Christian McCaffrey, because he was ready to hit the ground running. You can draft a George Kittle, but George Kittle wasn't George Kittle year one. So they desperately need skill position players on this offense, because Brock and CMC it just can't just be them every year. The past 2 years, it's just like it's either Brock or CMC, and then Brock gets hurt, and then it's the CMC show, or vice versa. It's just like they need help.
Kyle is so stubborn. If he's part of the offensive picks in the draft, why even give your input or say anything about what you'd like to have when you have the opportunity to integrate these guys into an offense that lacks speed and explosiveness, but you end up always, because of fear, depending on the same guys, using them to death, and then they usually end up getting hurt. How many? He had like over 400 touches this year, McCaffrey?
450.
Okay. We had a backup running back named Brian Robinson that we never used this year.
Yeah.
We had Isaac Arendo that was nowhere to be found. And Jordan James, again, doesn't play until the divisional round. Like, what is the purpose of all these picks? They're so cavalier the way that they draft. They draft as if like they've made it and they can stockpile. You don't have the talent anymore, man.
Yeah.
Like, everybody you draft needs to see the field. And on defense, I was happy this year. They were forced to make guys play because they didn't have anybody.
Yep.
And I think listen, as bad as they are, and I know a lot of people are talking, like in this comment, he talks about how they've plateaued and they might need a clean house. They have some players on defense. CJ West and Alfred Collins can play. Upton Stout can play.
Yeah.
I don't know about Siegel.
Yeah.
That
they need some safeties.
Yeah, they need a draft, or I don't know. Do you agree that they need to like use every bit of their money in free agency, and just you can't be cheap this year, right?
They can't, but like that's why I would get so upset when I keep hearing all these people say, "Well, next year they're going all in." I'm like, where is this coming from? This Jed York never said next year, 2026, we're going all in. Kyle never said that. John never said that. It's just assumptions, and I don't know if they are. There's a lot of bills due next year. Obviously, the Brandon Ayuk thing frees money up, but they have to use that money to go get a wide receiver. They need a pass catcher that can, stretch the field, and you cannot rely on Ricky Pearsall. His body is not calloused enough to take NFL hits, because every time he catches the ball, he's falling. He's never catching the ball in stride and running. He's always getting tackled at the point of the catch, and he's falling down and getting hurt. He has no yak. This guy has zero yak.
But everybody talks about how he's a separator.
He's not.
Where?
He has no separation at the point of the catch. That's why he's always hurt. He's getting smoked the second he catches the ball.
And then everybody's like, when he plays, he's effective, but he doesn't play ever. I'm sick of hearing that. This like magical Pearsall thing where everybody makes him out to be this missing link of the offense. He never plays.
So they cannot rely on him to be, part of the offense, honestly. He's missed 50% of his games in his career. So you can't go into.
You're 100% right. He doesn't have the body.
Yeah. So you can't not go into the season expecting to have Ricky Pearsall as your wide receiver one and, filling in behind him, because he is not going to play all the games. He's going to miss a significant amount of time.
49ers key free agents this offseason. I'm going to read a list, and I'm going to give you the people that we should keep.
Okay.
Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Brian Robinson Jr., Eddie Pinheiro, Thomas Morstead, Curtis Robinson, Eric Kendricks, Clellan Ferrell, Sky Moore.
Sky Moore and Eddie P for sure. Those are the two that come to mind immediately. Everyone
I would
else,
get rid of Morstead. Needs to go. We need a better punter. He doesn't have any leg.
Yeah, I think everyone else is easily replaceable.
I would say get rid of Brian Robinson Jr. because we don't use him.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
can find another running back
right.
somewhere.
We have them on our roster. We have Jordan James and we have Isaac Rendo. So
Yeah. I
um,
wouldn't really call Isaac Rendo a running back though. He's more of, I'd put him in the like a Sky Moore territory, like slot type of little. He just doesn't have the vision of a running back. He's just, it's almost like when he ran the ball last year, he would just like close his fucking eyes and just go forward. How many times did you see him run in the back of his
no
offensive
plan of
lineman?
attack.
Yeah. But I mean, if you get the ball to him in open space, that's where he can be dangerous.
So this year we basically had all possession wide receivers out there and no man beater. Yeah, but we don't have any man beaters on this team. And if we do, we don't play them. We don't know what we have in Cowing, and we don't know what we have in Watkins. Kyle doesn't trust rookies. Yeah. So he's gonna force the same guys out on the field every single week, regardless of their health, regardless if they're overused. The Niners are in such a talent deficit on offense when it comes to speed. They play such a congested offense. Everything's like in a 12-yard box.
Yep.
That's why Brock has to make these layered throws all the time because the safeties and everybody are draped all over. If they had any speed, the running game would be better because then they'd have to worry about getting beat downfield. And
it opens the box. Yeah,
they have to opens up the short passing game, and it opens up the ability in the running game. When you know they have no threats on the outside, and you can load the box.
Do you think Seattle was scared of fucking Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall or Kendrick Bourne or Demarcus Robinson? No, they didn't care at all. They loaded that box, and they're like, "Go ahead, bro. We dare you. We got our guys. They can handle it one-on-one. We ain't worried."
Get rid of the Farrell lack of effort interception.
Bro.
They spent they try to sell us on a blocking tight end as their big acquisition in free agency. Again, wasted draft picks.
He's not even good. He wasn't even a good. If they actually went out and got a good tight end too, I would have been like,
he never saw the field this year, bro. They try to sell us. They try to sell us on these free agents, right? And they do the same thing with the draft, where they try to sell you why they drafted a guy that's never going to play. They waste assets on players that don't see the field. I don't understand the logic when you're at a talent deficit right now because guys have aged out or you let them go because of injuries or you had to cut salary. You can't afford to miss and be cavalier.
Like, Farrell didn't see the field? Is that what you're saying?
What's that? No, the Farrell, the tight end. He never saw the field this year.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. He was out there and he would just block and he wasn't even good at it. They signed a blocking free agent tight end who
that's how much I didn't notice him, Mike. I didn't see him out there.
Exactly. No, that's the point. You didn't notice him. I would notice him because he would whiff on his blocks. Of course. And he would get smoked. And then they would try to throw him a ball. I think he has like maybe 5 catches. I don't even know. I'm guessing off the top of my head. And he's probably dropped 2 of the 5. So he's horrendous. He was absolutely horrendous. Yeah.
We talked about the trade deadline ad nauseum and a lot of the time since me and you started streaming together. Me and you both were very upset that the 49ers didn't make a move at the deadline. I told you off stream, hindsight is 2020. I'm glad they didn't make a move. I never thought I would say that. They need every draft pick they need to have this year. Them not blowing their wad and going and getting a free agent or a tradable player, go and make a trade to give up assets. Me and you were like, I was so mad, and Dre to an extent was too from Dre Area Sports. And now I'm like, I'm so glad they didn't make a move. What do you think?
As long as it wasn't like a rental, like a 1-year rental, then yeah, obviously it didn't work out. But like I was thinking, anything that would have gave us that edge against that Seattle game, I mean, maybe it could have turned the tide a little bit and we could have won somehow and got that 1 seed. It changes the whole landscape of this, playoff picture. But I just think that they were just bargain hunting so much that like they weren't gonna do it regardless. I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Because what if, the person they got, as long as it wasn't like just for this season, if they got somebody who they can get under contract for a couple years who was good, then I mean, it doesn't hurt because we could use all the help we can get next year. And the draft pick, honestly, is probably going to be a bust anyway. So
You tell it like it is, and I love it.
yeah.
Seahawks fan here. The rivalry has always been awesome. Sorry to see the season go the way that it did for you guys. See you next season. Yeah. Hopefully we can compete. Hopefully we can field the team next year that can actually compete with you guys.
Yeah, keep the rivalry going.
It can't be a rivalry if one team's always winning.
Exactly.
And the Niners had, for the last couple of years prior to this year, the Niners had pretty much taken care of Seattle.
Yeah.
And then Mike McDonald gets the coaching job there. And
the
he
smartest
becomes
hire by their
Kyle
GM.
Shanahan killer. So they hired, Mike McDonald was hired to be the Kyle Shanahan stopper, right?
Absolutely.
So Kyle has to figure out a way with his offense. He needs to evolve. He needs to be willing to, use rookies and guys, free agents. Like you can't. Kyle has to now evolve into the Mike McDonald killer as an offensive coach. The Niners, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch this offseason need to completely change their approach. You cannot go into this offseason with the same approach you always have. Everything should be on the table, Mike. Free agency, trade, draft. No stone left unturned. No cheapness. No, we're doing this where we have the rookies play, blah, blah. No one wants to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that. No invested fan wants to hear that. If you have money that's actually spendable, I know you say that, some stuff is coming due. They need, if they have any money to use, whatever money that they have to use, they need to use it in free agency.
Yeah.
Even if they bring in, dude, I don't care if they bring in, a center, not a center. Yes. Maybe a center and a guard.
Definitely need a guard. That's for sure.
Those aren't sexy free agent picks, but
if you're a football fan, that's sexy. I'm telling you.
they're not gonna be able to beat Seattle if they continue to get owned inside their interior of their offensive line.
It's all about the trenches, right? It starts.
They need to reevaluate in the trenches. They need to reevaluate in the trenches. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Niners we used to be a bully team, right? We used to be able to say, we're gonna run the fucking ball, stop us. Like, we're telling you what we're gonna do, stop it. And nobody could. We got away from this bully ball to being a finesse team, and like we don't bully anybody anymore. We don't run the ball down their throat. Seattle on that 4th and 1, we should have ran it down their damn throat, but we don't have the personnel to do it. You know why? Because we got all soft and they got cheap on the offensive line. They need to bolster this damn line to keep Purdy healthy. Purdy wouldn't have got hurt week 1 if he didn't have to scramble out of the pocket and run for his damn life, right? He wouldn't have got hurt in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles if we had a damn good offensive line. It's protect your asset. Protect McCaffrey. Let him get into the second level. If he's getting hit in the backfield, what's the point? You're going to kill the guy. So absolutely they have to draft for a tackle and a guard and probably a center. But to me, as a football fan, I know that's sexy to me. I love trenches. Like, yeah, the flashy wide receiver, I really don't care because I know offensive line is the tide that raises all the boats, right?
Yep. They used to be a running team.
It's the one position that makes every position on the offense automatically better.
Yeah.
Automatically. Wide receivers, quarterback, running back, fullback, tight ends. Everyone is automatically better when your offensive line is good.
And Brand New says Seahawks built their defense specifically to be Shanahan's offense. Yeah, they did. And now he's got to find a way to reverse that. I mean, they had trouble running against Seattle. Seattle's got an awesome front. Dude, they give up nothing in the run game. Nothing, dude. They're really good tacklers, too. They swarm. They don't miss tackles. They're just disciplined. They have good gap integrity. All things the 49ers had none of this year.
Yep.
Again, they were down personnel. So there's a little bit of leeway and an excuse. Going forward, though, in the next year, they have to be dramatically better on defense. This year was just an abomination.
Yeah.
CJ Gray says, like, if we don't make home run picks in the draft this offseason, it's going to be trouble. They have to stop using the bargain bin. Yeah, they need to use every asset this year if they have any financially in the draft. They get this cannot be a year where they're going to try to sell us on something. John Lynch is the ultimate car salesman, Mike.
Yep.
He'll talk you into something that you don't believe in.
Yep.
He did it this offseason. But I don't know. Let me ask you a question. So right after the game ended, all the players were really not even talking about the game. They were talking about how they persevered and they overcame. Kyle said he didn't talk about the game in the locker room. He was talking about how they, he was so proud of them for the effort that they put this season with all the injuries. And we were talking off stream about, even though that's the truth, I had a hard time listening to some of these post-game interviews where essentially the injury excuse was pretty much everybody was using it. And it was just, I don't know, it was just hard to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, what is he supposed to do? Yell at him at the end of the game? It's the last game of the season. It's one of those, they'll handle that in-house. I think maybe they were talking a little politically correct, a good answer to the media or whatever. He can't go up there and say, oh, yeah, I ripped everyone's ass and told them they're all idiots and failures. And, so I get it from that point of view, but it was just, I mean, what can he say? There was really nothing that he was going to say to make me feel any better. like I was just so baffled and taken by how the lack of effort, the lack of preparation that they had going into this game. And I was just like, dude, whatever. I'm ready to just move on. Let's go.
There was a feeling that I got from the team that somebody made a point that they don't think the Niners internally thought they were going to win that game. And the players played like it. I forgot where I heard it from, but it was like essentially like,
well, it looked like they didn't think they were going to win that game. Definitely showed. Brock was the only one who was really trying his ass off out there.
I've heard a couple Seahawks fans say that they give Brock, and even players on the Seahawks, they were like, they say Brock is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Brock was not the problem in this game.
Definitely was.
And there's so many of you freaking grifters that do that crap where, like, as soon as we lose a game, it's always Brock's fault.
No.
This was nothing. Everybody else was to blame in this game except for Brock.
Yeah.
He threw a pick because of a whack-ass effort by Farrell, the tight end, not fighting for a ball. It wasn't because he was, I'm just sick of listening to it.
He had a strip sack because he was running for his damn life.
The whole game.
And the pocket collapsed immediately, and he was trying to get out of there. I mean, it's just, people don't understand that this guy was working with nothing. Like we said, he's not out there with Puka Nacua, Higbee and Devontae Adams or JSN. He doesn't have these weapons. And people are like, oh, he's getting paid all this money. He needs to make it happen with anybody. Well, sorry, Kendrick Bourne cannot get open against the Seattle defense. Sorry, Jawan Jennings is dropping third down balls that hit him right in the hands. What do you want the guy to do? His number one draft pick, wide receiver, had 0 catches, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, and had 1 target where he dropped the ball. Like, what more can Brock Purdy do?
Nothing. Pale time. Pale's a really good, cool Rams fan. Probably one of the cool. He actually was in my hometown a couple years ago, and I didn't meet up with him.
Oh, that's cool.
Pale said, do you think the 49ers wide receiver core is older or younger next season as a whole? They have to get younger. They have to infuse.
But you need a veteran in there too, right?
Yeah. Well, they need, if not youth, Pale, Speed,
Experience.
speed and
Experience and
experience.
speed.
They don't have. They just don't have any. They got nothing, man. They have
They need proven talent there. Proven talent, right? They have to. They cannot go into these games with practice squad wide receivers.
So, Ayuk's a goner. Do you bring back Jennings
Um,
if they can come to a
I've been
reasonable number?
flip-flopping on this all year. I think if you keep Jennings as your wide receiver 3, great. But at what price, right?
Yep.
Like what is his going price? Do you know what he wants? He wants 20 mil a year or some shit. I don't know what his demands are.
Yeah. He just said he's leaving it up to his agent.
Yeah, so he wants to get paid. I'm not paying him.
No, you can't.
No.
I would hate to let him go because he's a clutch guy, but I'd rather spend the money, Mike, in free agency that you're not going to pay him on a guy like Justin Jefferson. Like if you're going to pay money for somebody, make a trade for Jefferson.
Yeah.
Do something, dude. I don't know.
They need skill position players drastically.
Yeah.
So
they're devoid of talent right now on offense.
I wonder how much Juwan Jennings wants though. Do you remember this offseason what he wanted?
It was about $20 million a year.
20 million? Yeah, dude, there's no way, man.
CJ Gray says Brock was out there with number 3 wide receivers and as slow as F running backs, small line getting their ass kicked. What the fuck is he supposed to? Yeah, they're really undersized, man. Seattle's defensive line is humongous.
Big boys, bro. Those are some big dudes.
They're not like these speed rusher guys. They're just like, dude, every time they go back to throw, the offensive line was in Brock's lap. They were just a big, thick defensive line that just literally moves you off.
Though. They move like they're speed rushers. They are just Mike McDonald found guys that fit his scheme to the T. And holy moly, did he find a badass defensive line.
Good drafting, and guess what? They were healthy this year.
Yeah.
They were healthy. If you're healthy and you hit on your draft picks and you can go 50-50 with free agent players, be honest. I mean, Sam Darnold didn't really do much in this game.
No.
I'll give Seattle all the credit, but they won in spite of him. He did
enough.
They
wanted to make sure he wasn't the reason why they lost.
He played his Jimmy Garoppolo part in that game.
Yeah. That was like the Green Bay game all over again, right? The NFC Championship game. That was
he did enough to help them. He made some big throws in the game, but they took the ball out of his hands. They knew in their heart that they could run the ball down the 49ers' throat, and they knew that the 49ers offensive line would be able to, like, they won the line of scrimmage in that game in the freaking tunnel coming out for the game.
Yep.
It was over. Brand New says, what plays was worse, double flea flicker for 1 yard or the 4th and 1 fullback option?
The 4th and 1 fullback option.
You think so?
Oh, dude, I saw them line up and I called it. I said, they're going to give it to Juice here. Why the fuck are they going to do this? And why don't they just do the QB sneak twice in a row?
Right. Why go lateral? You can't go lateral on this defense.
No, you cannot.
They're so fast sideline to sideline. And you got, I love Juszczyk and I love McCaffrey, but they're both slow.
Every time they give it to Juice on a 4th down, he fucks it up, man. It doesn't work. It does not work. QB sneak it twice in a row. On 3rd down, they should have did it, and then 4th down. I don't know why they didn't do it. It blew my mind, and I was so angry. At least with the flea flicker, they were trying something because obviously their wide receivers couldn't get open, and they had to do something to create space. So that I don't hold Kyle too much at the fire for that because he was just trying to find something that would work. But on 3rd and short and 4th and short, you should have just done QB sneak twice in a row.
When I watched that slow motion freaking flea flicker for 1 yard, I mean, dude, Seattle snuffed that play out.
Oh, dude, yeah.
The Niners, they had nothing in this game offensively. They had nothing. They had nothing to counter Seattle in this game. They
Zero.
tried everything.
Yep.
They in 2 games against the Seahawks, they've scored 9 points the last 2
Yeah.
games. 9 points. 9.
No touchdowns.
None.
And
Everyone
people
was like,
don't think
"Oh, if
that's a problem.
Pearsall
They're like,
plays, he's going to make a difference." I'm like, "No, he's not."
the thing. So I made a video about this, talking about how I'm concerned about Mike McDonald, and people are like, "Hey, calm down. We were hurt, this and that." I'm like, you guys aren't realizing this has been a problem since that Christmas Day massacre, right? When they played Baltimore, when Brock Purdy had all his weapons, he had the Avengers, but Mike McDonald's scheme was super effective against Brock and Kyle's scheme. Kyle couldn't figure out anything to do against that defense. So what did Seattle do, right? Like you said, they hired the Kyle killer. So yeah, Kyle beat him his first 2 games in Seattle. He didn't have his team together yet. It was his first year. What do you want the guy to do? He's just barely putting together his team. Now, guess what? He has his team. And when he had his full after his full first year, yeah, we played them week 1, but guess what? He held our offense to 17 points. And now it progressively got worse. So now it's like, dude, this guy is smoking us. And he's figured it out, and he's finally got his team together. So put this record away of, oh, Kyle is, 2-4 against or whatever. The first year of Mike McDonald's coaching tenure, he's putting together a team. It's not his final product yet. He has to get his players that fit his scheme. But now it's looking dangerous.
Coaching news. Got Robert Saleh. Looks like he's getting a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals on Tuesday.
What the fuck?
He did a he went he had a right. He had an interview with the Titans, Miami
Okay.
Dolphins, and Baltimore Ravens. And then Clay Kubiak, our offensive coordinator, did a interview with the Pittsburgh Steelers via phone, and it said Las Vegas Raiders interview requested and scheduled January 18th and 19th.
Oh.
So, with the 2 of those guys, I mean, Kubiak doesn't bother me as much leaving because Kyle runs the offense. What's your opinion on if Saleh leaves? Are you overly concerned just based on how bad the defense played this year? Is he partially to blame, or really is it really just about a lack of personnel?
You know what, Aaron? That's a really good question. Earlier this season, when the rumors were flying, I was getting, a little sad about it. I know Saleh can put together a top defense. He's proven that, but I'm just very disappointed in how he's had this defense play, because he's had them play like soft zone, right?
All year.
Like there's no maybe he just doesn't have the horses to run anything else. I don't know. I'm not very scheme. What's the word? Like,
You're not attached to any scheme?
no, like for me personally, like I'm not a scheme guy. Like I don't really, I'm not in the X's and O's a
Me
lot.
neither.
So
I totally understand.
I would have to defer that to somebody, like maybe Johnny Dells or whatever, who knows more
Dude's amazing.
about, what Saleh was trying to do with the personnel that he had. But it just seemed like he was just playing soft zone the whole time. He was like, yeah, you know what? They're going to end up scoring, but we're just going to make them take a long time to do it. You know what I mean? It's just like, was that the right move? I don't know. I mean, obviously when Saleh has like Warner, Bosa, all these guys, the defense looked pretty dope. But I don't know. I'm very confused.
To me, it's a double-edged sword. I thought he really didn't show us anything this year. And it made you wonder if he's really only as good as the players he has on the field, or is his scheme, or is his scheme like this unbeatable scheme? Because if that was the case, his scheme didn't work this year. I personally think most defensive coordinators are only as good as the guys they have playing. But like you said, there was never really any adjustments this year. We just kind of rolled out the same defense every game,
Yeah,
cover,
there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of missed tackling. There's a lot of
yeah, like there wasn't improvement this year.
no, yeah.
The tackling never got any better. The angles in the run game and run defense never really got any better.
Like he didn't even sell out to stop the run against Seattle. Like, wouldn't you want to do that to test Sam Darnold and be like, hey, let's see how good that oblique injury is? Like, stack the box with 9 dudes. I don't care. Just do not let them run for 5 yards a clip on you. That's insane.
CJ Gray says players seem not to know what they were doing most. That's the most of the time. That's the thing too. Like if I don't want to attack Salah.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I don't know what he
because
was
if he's
to do.
He's this guy and he has this reputation and we hype him up. Like how are these guys always so unprepared all the time?
But he is proven. He is a proven asset.
He is. I mean? But like why I don't understand like game by game these guys never got any better when it came to tackling or angles in the run game or gap integrity. Like they got worse.
I wouldn't mind changing the scheme up though.
Let's get rid of the wide 9. Let's Cassera at the door. It's an overrated. First of all, this Seattle defense that Kyle's obsessed with only works if you have the personnel that Seattle did. I'm done with it. I'm willing to say, you know what? We just don't have the dogs to run that freaking type of defense. Yeah, I mean, I hope Salah doesn't leave because I'm sick of having internal turnover constantly.
Yeah.
It looks like possibly who's on our staff right now? Bradley. Yes, Bradley. There's a defensive coordinator out there. Say Schwartz, ex-Browns defensive coordinator.
I want to find a defensive coordinator who's not looking to be a head coach anymore. You know what I mean? We need one of those guys that stays for 10 years where these guys are in the exact same system, playing with the exact same calls, where they know the defense like the back of their hand. But every year these guys are getting, new systems. It's hard to run a top defense like that. It really is.
Fangio, what's his name from the Chiefs?
Spags.
They knew that they're not good head coaches, and they've come to that conclusion.
Yeah, so that's what I want. I want a bad head coach.
Joseph Ernberg says they should go after Jim Schwartz. Yeah, he is intriguing to me. If they lose Salah, I agree on that one. We're about to get out of here. I just want to get your overall thoughts. If you can give me a summary, like a quick answer, what the 49ers need to do this offseason to be better next season.
Is that a short answer? Oh man.
I mean, give me what you got.
Oh, well, number one, I think the number one thing they should do is promote John Lynch to president and get a new GM from a reputable organization like the Rams, Seattle, Baltimore, Kansas City, one of these teams that draft very, very well, and they need outside eyes to evaluate their talent, because this is the one thing that's been holding this team back is their drafting and their scouting evaluations. And to me, I think that is by far the number one thing that has to change this season, because they cannot keep going into these drafts and missing. It just keeps setting this franchise back, and now it's showing its ugly head, where the Rams and Seattle in our own division are both playing in the NFC Championship game in our own stadium.
I agree. When you continually miss in the draft year after year, it piles up, and then eventually the rent comes due, and you cut guys, and then these guys that you drafted that are supposed to be the answer for when guys leave aren't the answer. There was talk from some people, should John Lynch be fired? Not yet, but you're right. I would love to see someone who's a real talent evaluator take that position and move him to president, even though I think he's kind of already the president. They need to
make him super president.
Make him, you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel with the 49ers.
Yeah.
But this offseason, like I said early in the stream, everything has to be on the table and all resources have to be exhausted. whatever that means. You can't go business as usual after a season like this. Health staff, coaching, reevaluating offensive skill players, maybe going into free agency and maybe making moves on some skill players. Whatever it takes. Trades, free agents, everything. Draft. You got to hit. You got to hit, man. You can't miss this year.
It's got to be.
It's just you got to. This has to. This offseason has to be different than every offseason we've had probably in the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
Like they have to hit 100 out of 100. They can't miss. Yeah. Otherwise, what happened Saturday is going to continue happening. I don't want 2014 to start all over again, where we become a laughing stock once again because we've kind of our window closed. So
exactly.
All I'll say is the injuries did pile up this year. I think a lot of what happened this year had to do with the injuries for the most part. But offensively and defensively, we need more of a talent infusion, even when we're healthy. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah. Everybody, I think me and Mike, Louis, I have a hoping we get to do this next season and into the off season.
Absolutely.
And we just got to figure out a name for the show, and I got to get a caricature that looks like Mike to have, like with the hat. Mike's got that good square jaw. You got a strong jaw. So strong jaw. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I never thought I'd say this, but I do look forward to the off season to some aspects, like free agency and the draft, because there's always that possibility that the Niners might be aggressive. So we'll see. But until then, everybody, thanks for coming through. Sorry to get a lot of your comments. Appreciate you coming through. If you want, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I would appreciate that so much. And hopefully I see all you guys down the line. Mike, I had fun, regardless of the situation. And until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy. Go Niners.
See you later, guys.
And I'll see you guys on the flip side.